Shannon Timmons. I'm the Director of Technical Services at the International CCS Knowledge Centre. We were established in 2016, about a year and a half after operations began at SaskPower's Boundary Dam Unit 3 CCS facility. And we were an initiative of BHP and SaskPower, created to share lessons learned from that project. And over the last 9 years, we've continued to share lessons learned from projects both within Canada and worldwide to help advance the deployment of carbon capture and storage. It's extremely important to understand the cost of capture because it directly impacts the feasibility of these projects. Essentially, if these projects are too expensive, they just won't be implemented. So by understanding the cost of capture, it can help developers to compare projects or compare technologies and help them to understand where to invest and which projects to move forward with. It also can help to identify cost drivers so that you can really hone in on what those components are and try to address those specific pieces. The other thing, from a policymaker perspective, by understanding what those costs are, that would help them to develop policies that will enable the deployment of carbon capture projects. This calculator was really inspired by work that we were doing with Emissions Reduction Alberta. What they did was they funded a program called the Carbon Capture Kickstart program, which was done in parallel with another program funded by NRCan. This program funded 11 FEED studies for CCS projects here in Alberta. And as part of that funding, the proponents were required to submit information and data on their projects as part of a knowledge sharing effort. What we did was we would receive the information and aggregate it and then disseminate the learnings from it. When we received the levelized cost of capture metric, we realized that we couldn't use it to compare the projects directly because there's so many factors that go into it. Things like, from an economic perspective, escalation rates, discount rates. From an operational perspective, it's the operational life, and then the actual methodology itself. We just weren't sure what methodologies were being used to calculate that metric, as well as what system boundaries were being used. And so we realized that we needed to develop and utilize a calculator so that we could calculate this metric consistently, and then we would be able to compare this with confidence between the various projects. I think we really need to start building more projects. We're going to learn by doing. I think another thing would be the technology innovation. So continuing to improve the technologies that are already in use and continuing to invest in next generation technologies to expand the applicability of CCS will allow the cost to come down. Another thing is the things that we're doing here in Alberta and other jurisdictions like the UK and Norway around the transportation and storage hub model allows the cost of that infrastructure to be shared among emitters, which will continue to bring the cost down. There certainly needs to be policies in place which incentivize the deployment of carbon capture and storage. So I'm looking forward to hearing the presentations at the conference and getting updates on research that's been happening recently and updates on projects and technology innovation. I'm also really looking forward to connecting with familiar faces and getting to meet some new people in this space.